a show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Colonial Insurances, DG Cell, Delta Petroleum BVI, Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pier Park, and the Gumptions Experience BVI. This is the big story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I am so elated to have as my guest today the Junior Minister for Trade and Investment Promotion, Hon.Shereen Flax-Charles, and I'm going to tell you why I am elated. It's the facts. I can't hide it. You would see forever we have the males on this program a lot. All the ministers, we always have them here. But seldom do we see this female representation that we have in government. And with that, Honorable Flax, I am so happy to have you join me on set.
Thank you very much, Kathy. And yes, women will be playing more prominent roles as we move forward to make the BVI a better place. And we are geared up and we're ready to go.
Okay. Before we get into the heart of our discourse, just give us a little rundown as to how it is going for three females that we have amongst all those men, strong men.
We're going quite well, you know, and because I'll tell you, the three women on the government side, we're very strong women. We want to get things done. We're results driven, and it's been quite an experience. I think that persons out there in the community too have given us a lot of encouragement. And so we want to really work hard for the people of the BVI to make sure, especially in these times, that everyone has a sense of security, that they feel comfortable knowing that their future will be secure.
Okay, and we who are on the outside of the government's operations can tell when there is that little feminine touch to something. We see it. We see it.
Well, yes, you know, women always have a different way of doing certain things. And when you blend both the women and the men together, you get the ideal product. So it's a working relationship. It's just all about human nature too, you know, in terms of making sure that everything is balanced.
Yes, great. All right, so let's get into the meat of our discourse for today. The department for which you are now the junior minister, and I've been hearing you so often talking about the great experience that you're having and what you're learning so much of and is able to do now that you are away from the tourism, junior minister of tourism, into being in an avenue where you never really thought that you would have fit in?
Well, to be honest, I'll tell you the two are very much interrelated because a lot of the businesses that we come in contact with are trade. I would say the majority are tourism related in one way or the other. And our focus is to really facilitate and promote the growth of businesses in the territory, especially small, locally owned businesses. So it's a different area. I've been in business, to be honest, for myself personally, from the time I was a child in high school. I started my own business. So it blends in well. And of course, with anything, even with tourism, there's still a lot that I have to learn. You learn new things every single day.
Okay. Now you're dealing with matters of business in a time when the territory and the world over is experiencing what this COVID pandemic has to offer us. A lot of challenges. But you yourself, along with the other government ministers and all the other departments, are continuing to do what you see is best in the interest of people. Recently launched is the grant program for small and medium businesses. Give us a little roundup as to how that is going right now.
It's going pretty well. We have gotten quite a bit of applications so far. We're doing it mainly online because, you know, in the COVID era, you have to social distance. And it's also a way for us to experiment on going green. So our applications are available online. If you have a challenge with the internet or you're not so computer savvy, you can call the department and someone will walk you through the steps. We have persons assigned just to do that in this period, and the deadline is August the 21st. So please make sure and get your applications in before the 21st. And I just wanted to touch and let people know the difference between the micro, medium versus small businesses. A micro enterprise employs 1 to 5 persons, Cathy, with an annual turnover of less than 25,000. A small enterprise employs 6 to 10 persons with an annual turnover of less than 125,000. And a medium enterprise employs 11 to 20 persons with an annual turnover of less than 200,000.
Oh, okay. I'm happy for that.
So I'll also add in a large enterprise employs more than 20 persons with an annual turnover of more than $200,000.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that breakdown, because it's one of the things that I really wanted to have you share on. But coming back directly to the grant program,
right?
Persons probably may not have yet applied, and they may have the question as to, I'm wondering what's the minimum or the maximum monies I can get. Should I apply and is approved for a
Well,
grant?
first of all, Cathy, we have a total of $6.5 million. And it might seem like a lot of money, but we also have 3,600 small, medium, and micro businesses that are registered with the Trade Department. So we won't be able to say a minimum or a maximum until the process has ended in terms of applications being submitted. And a lot of it would be based as well on need. A micro business might not need as much as a small business, and so forth and so on. So I would encourage persons to submit, and we're going to be working very closely. We have a committee that will work on the processing of the applications. The Premier's office will be involved, as well as the finance department. And so it's going to be a little difficult, because we know that every single business is suffering right now, even some of the businesses that are actually open still, because you're not seeing that volume of business that you're accustomed of seeing. There are some businesses as well that have not been able to open after the lockdown. Those businesses that primarily deal with the tourism side of things. But we still have to support those businesses, because when we do reopen, and at some point that will happen, those businesses have to be ready and able to open up to serve our guests.
Okay. And there are those who may be suffering. They fit within the categories micro, small, and medium. But they're saying to themselves, I know for a fact that I do not have my inland revenue in order. I don't have my Social Security in order. I don't have my NHI payments in order. I am scared to apply. What would you say to that, to those people?
I would say apply, because we have a system in place where we rank each applicant, and it does not solely depend on those being up to date on those payments. So don't let that discourage you from applying. You must still apply, because we've put a program in place that you can go into these different entities and set up a payment plan, but it still will not prevent you from being approved. Okay. So don't just listen to the chatter on the street. fill out the application, call the trade department with any questions that you have. We also have the ministry side of things where you can call the Premier's office and speak with any of the officers affiliated with the trade department for additional information. Okay. So, like I said, don't listen to all of the chatter on the street. Find out for yourselves, call the department. Persons will walk you through every step of the way.
Okay, so it would be safe to say that actually we're not looking at setting any criteria for disqualification.
No, we want to be able, we know that persons are having a hard time, and that is why we pushed very hard in this particular instance to be able to assist persons who might not have been up to date. And it's been a really difficult time for businesses coming out of Irma. Persons might have owed before Irma, and we are figuring, okay, we're getting back on track with the recovery, and then bam, COVID hits us. And so you're almost back to square one again. And it's very, very difficult for businesses because we were going into what I know would have been a banner year for tourism. And it just happens, it was the same thing with Irma. 2017, 2018 tourism season was looking like nothing we had ever seen. Mm-hmm. So we know it's a difficult time for businesses, and you still have to balance your business and then your family life with those expenses there as well. So we want to make the process as easy as possible for persons. And that is why we put in place, we have persons dedicated that when you call the trade department, you can get the answers that you need. They will help you with the application over the telephone as well.
Okay. Honorable Flax-Charles, I have known you for a little bit since I've been here in this territory, and there's one thing that I have learned about you. You're not the type that sits in an office and just try to work from there. You love the road. You love to be out there amongst the people, which tells me that you have a great lot of interaction. Even now that you have a junior ministerial position, you are still out there. If it's not on the stage with a mic in your hand, it's out there looking directly at what's going on in the business sector. What is the feel you are getting from persons? Are there businesses who are saying to you, look, we really really can't handle it any longer. We want to, we think we're going to just close. Or are you finding a lot who are saying, listen, we just need somebody or some entity to help hold our hands so that we can continue? What is it?
Well, what I would say, I love being out. I'm not the type of person that really sits in an office. You hit the nail on the head there. And yes, persons are saying to me and to other members of government as well, because we work as a team, and you know, we're always very visible out there in the public, walking the streets, etc. And persons don't want to give up. Okay. You've lived here for quite a while, Cathy, and you know that BVI landers are workers, they're fighters, and will not give up easily. And so they're looking to us to assist. And persons really want to keep their businesses open. On those businesses that might not be open right now, they're looking forward to the time when they'll be able to reopen. And we're there to help. We're there to make sure that persons don't fall on their faces or their businesses don't fall on their faces. And I'll tell you, you might have noticed there are quite a few new businesses that have popped up, because with any disaster or anything that affects the economy in some way, there's always a business that you can create from that. And so the innovation of our people, and even a lot of our young people, have come up with ideas, delivery services, and so forth to cater to what's happening now. So those persons I applaud, and I also applaud those who are still not able to function as they normally have, but that are not giving up. You cannot ever give up, because we're going to be here to help you along the way, every step of the way.
Okay, I'm truly admirable of those young people who are coming up with these ideas. Not so long ago, I attended an event of carriers where she did for the Charm Academy, and when she spoke of, and we heard from you were there, yes, you were there, and heard what these young ladies are doing, and that's just a little fraction of the number of young people within the territory who are coming up with these brilliant ideas that, you know, we would have never seen had there not been a COVID pandemic.
Right, and you know, we gave a bunch of book scholarships for the Elmore Stout High School graduation, and one of the things we wanted to do was to pick out persons who had done exceptionally well from the business side in their schoolwork, as well as those with that entrepreneurial spirit. And we have quite a few young people that graduated from the high schools within the BVI that actually already have their own business, and they're promoting themselves on Facebook and where any other social media, and they're doing quite well. So that's not going to stop, and we want to encourage our young people to continue, and those persons that are already in business, we are here for you.
Okay, I'm going to deviate a little bit because I know this part is very dear to your art. What are the young people doing in terms of the culinary arts?
Well, I will say this much. I told someone this morning the BVI is going to become the culinary capital of the Caribbean. We already are the sailing capital of the world. We're going to start small in the Caribbean, but we're going to build that culinary industry. And we've started already, and we had quite a few students that graduated from the technical school, and they are already out there. I've seen some of them in restaurants. As a matter of fact, for staycation, we have quite a few of these young chefs catering in villas. My son, who everyone knows is a chef,
Eric,
and he has taken 2 of the graduates from the Virgin Islands Technical School here in Bargas Bay, and he has them under his wing. And so whenever he gets a catering at a villa, they go along with him so that they can learn what he has learned over the years. And I even went to an event up at the college, and my God, the cakes, the desserts, professionally done. And so when it comes to the culinary arts and culinary tourism, and just on a whole, residents going out to eat in the BVI, in the next 5 years, I will tell you, no one else will want to say that they've had a bad plate of food somewhere, because we have so many persons up in their game now and understanding that culinary tourism is something that we should embrace. And if you want a career in the culinary arts, that it is a field that is well respected around the world. Years ago, everyone wanted their child to be a doctor, a lawyer, and those sort of things. And we had experiences with Arik where career day, oh, you can't come dressed as a chef. Well, that's the uniform for a chef. And he persisted and persisted, and a lot of students after him, with the experience that he got, they were able to say, I want to be like him. You know, and there's a Facebook site in Miami, and he was voted as one of the top chefs in Miami recently.
Wow.
And so we have to push our kids. Parents, if there's something that your child has a passion about, don't let anyone tell you that your child cannot do that. You support your child with that passion that they have.
Yeah. Many of us as parents, we fall guilty of trying to push our dreams that we may not or may have accomplished onto our children, but they're their own individual. They have their own passion, their own dreams, and we must learn really to encourage them along.
Right,
that
we have to
line.
support them and encourage them with whatever they feel passionate about. I feel very passionate about that.
Okay, we know that. There's no doubt about it. But we shift a little bit from the conversation to talk about that. But the one thing before you go, Honorable Flax, if you can shed some light about I know this current grant that is on are only for a category of people, and
Right.
I think it's places like the religious organizations, the daycares and preschools are not included in being able to apply. If you can explain to us why not, and what if there is something for them?
Well, we have a separate grant program for religious organizations, daycares, preschools, private schools, and that is coming out of the Premier's office. And more information will be coming on that very soon. You can log on to the government's website as well. There is information on the government website as it relates to grants for the private schools, religious organization, daycares, and the like.
Okay. Well, I will give you the floor right now to say if any other thing that you have that you want to share with the general public.
Well, from the trade side, we're always open. We have an open house policy in terms of being able to access us. It's not open in the sense of you can walk in anytime because of COVID and social distancing, but feel free to reach out to us anytime. If you see me on the street and you have a question, unless I'm running to a meeting or something, I will always want to stop and try to help out. If I don't know the answer, I point you in the right direction. And my passion is music, and one of the programs that I'm going to be that I'm working on right now is working with a lot of the schools, because with COVID, what we found that was a lot of the music programs could not continue. We do have some after school programs as well, and some of the kids don't have their own instrument, can't afford their own instrument. So it's in the infancy stages, but I'm working with schools now to identify children that do not have an instrument at home that they can practice with. I know at some of the public high schools, they would interchange or borrow, and with COVID now you can't. So we want to be able to have the kids that are interested in music, that they're able to have their trombone at home, or a small keyboard, or a small drum set. We have some really talented drummers now within the school system. And long ago, you barely could find a drummer in the BVI. And now every little boy and their girls too that want to drum. So that program is coming on stream, but we will be walking it through the schools so that they are able to tell us which children don't have their own personal instrument. And that there are some things that we might not be able to get, but we're going to do our utmost to make sure that the children have that instrument so that they can practice at home, especially during the lockdowns. They have so much time on their hands, and you don't just want them to be on the Xbox
the gadgets,
and the other gadgets all day long. They should be able to spend some time practicing their instrument. But if they can't afford it, or the parent can't afford it, it's a challenge. So there's a need for that, and that is a program that we as a government will be rolling out very soon.
Okay, great. Great information. A lot there for us to swallow and dissect and work on as well. Like you said, you would encourage every single micro, small, and medium business to not shy away from applying for the grant. It's something there that everyone you would try to accommodate as many persons or businesses as practicably possible.
Yes.
So do not shy away from that. Honorable Flax, I must tell you this before we go, though, that while you might think that I'm looking at you in your eyes, I'm just looking to see where the airline there for this wig. But then I realizing that you ain't like me without any. You got it good there. You're rocking that natural look there. Really good. Really
Thank
good.
you. I
Beautiful.
appreciate that. And before we go, you know, I was down at Carrot Bay at the market day, and a young girl, 11 or 12 years old, came up to me and she said, "I love your hair." And we had a nice conversation about that, you know. And so it's what it is. We do what we have to do.
Yes. And once again, thank you for gracing us with your presence here on The Big Story. The doors are always open, like we would always say to everyone, and this platform is open for you to come and share with what you have to share, whether it be controversial or non-controversial. Let's talk about it. That's the only way that we could beef up
Clear
communication and clear air, get ideas as well, and you know, continue that road of becoming one people working together for the common good of this territory.
Definitely, and we'll make it happen.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
You're most welcome. And on that note, I say thank you for joining us here for this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.